So, welcome to the stream. Unfortunately, I've been speaking to myself for the past 10 minutes and I just run down the whole grid and explained all of the drive moves that we've seen throughout the off-season period. But anyway, I guess it's time for me to do that all again because for some reason the stream doesn't start, even though it said it was starting. So yeah, we'll get going through everything again, so you guys are all up to speed with the drive moves that have happened in the off season and the grid that we've got. Unfortunately, only 14 drivers today. We had quite a lot of pullouts on the final day today. Unfortunately, it was quite surprising considering it's round one. But hopefully that will get back to normal next week. But yeah, let's go run through the grid again. We'll start with Ferrari, as they're one of two teams who've kept both their drivers from last season. Fontani, and for today, Guesty Ben, but that will normally be Mike Sands. Guesty Ben is a reserve driver, just joining in for today. McLaren have also kept their two drivers from last season of Arctic Squirrel and Tichibu. Red Bull have signed T-Bop from Mercedes, and they have signed Janika as well, who joined quite late on last season and set some promising results throughout the season after joining. Both Mercedes drivers are unable to attend today. That is Bundes and Luke Boos. Obviously, both solid drivers in their own right. Aston Martin Constructors champions from last season have lost both their drivers to promotion, and they have signed in Chris T to try and get a similar result for them this season, and Nicholas Volkmann, who unfortunately is not able to race today. Abmo joins after a long time out in ALR. He'll be driving for Haas team with Naked Champ, who has been a really solid driver last season. Fontani very much up on his time here, 1.3 seconds up. I think that just, oh no, down to 2.1, never mind. Next up, we've got the Williams team, who have kept El Truco, who is not here today, unfortunately, and they've signed Halanan from Haas, one of the favourites for the title this season. Vizarabi have lost Mighty Chump to Kick Sauber, and they've lost Sven the Men to promotion. Instead, they're rocking a team of Cassell, 9992, a veteran at ALR, up in P1 provisional pole currently, so it looks like they've done a good job to replace Sven the Men, and they've got Black Charizard in P9. Yeah, as I mentioned, Kick Sauber signing Mighty Chump. They've also got Sabi, who really impressed on his debut in the back end of last season. He'll be hoping to do a good job this season and probably trying to see if he can fight for the title. And the last team on the grid is Alpine. They have signed AJ14, who was a reserve who always seemed to be driving the Alpine with Dark Kiki's poor attendance last season. Dark Kiki has been dropped from the league. And he will be teammates with Trezina, who was in the Kick team last season. And that's the full grid. If my share button worked before, you'd have known that I also ran through the people who I think will be favourites this season. So yeah, Fontani, Halanan and Naked Champ are the top three from last season who are still in this tier. So obviously those three will be very much up there. We've also got Cassell and Sabi, who are big chances for the title this season. Cassell with that experience and with his fantastic career over the seasons at ALR, and Sabi with his blistering pace that he showed at times last season. Just needs to try and increase his consistency. In terms of other drivers who could be in for like a dark horse shout to get up there in the standings, we've got T-Bop, who managed a couple of podiums last season, same as Tichiboom. And we've also got people like Luke Boos and Trezina and those kind of level guys who you could always see, you know, if they won a title, you wouldn't be shocked, but they're not quite as strong favourites as some of the other guys we've mentioned beforehand. But we're actually coming on to the final runs of qualifying now. Yeah, it goes a lot quicker when I don't realise that I'm streaming, or when I try to stream but it doesn't work, I think I should more say, because I promise you, I was streaming. 19 seconds to go. Cassell's going to be the first man. He's going to improve his time. Oh, no, he's not. 1/10 down. Because Hallinan is going to be the last man across the line. He's going to have a chance. Everyone in Sector 1, everyone's timed their lap times really well here. We'll go on board with Naked Champ. Fontanu's actually missed the line with his qualifying. And actually, Cassell managed to get across the line, so he's going to have one more attempt. Purple for Naked Champ in the middle sector. I didn't look how far up he was in his time, but you never know. Maybe he'll be close enough. But I tell you what, 4 seconds is 3.5 seconds is a lot to make up. We'll see where he is coming across the line. Didn't use anywhere near all of his battery there. I'd have thought he'd use a bit more. Goes up to P7. Sabi's down on his time. Hallinan is... Is it T-Bop up ahead? T-Bop's gone up to P5. I think T-Bop was always there in P5. Black Charizard, I guess we can go on board with next, but I don't really know. Yeah, no, he's going to be too far down. If you look at his time, he's nowhere near where he needs to be. I think it is going to be Hallinan who's next across the board. He's well down. He's 6 seconds down on his previous time. No one improving. Where's the McLaren? Titchy Boom. Hello. Oh. Second up on his time. Can he go and overtake Guesty? Get into the top 8? He gets into the top 7. Really good job from Titchy there. Abmo's well down at his time. Mighty Chump 8/10 up on his time. Do you know what? He might get 2 places. He might get into the top 10. If he can get points, Mighty Chump, that'll be a great success for him, and he has managed it to get into the top 10. Last man across the line, AJ and Cassell, both down on their time. We've got some fans for Guesty Ben on debut in ALR. Welcome to Guesty Ben. He's a reserve driver this season. I'm sure he'll find himself in a full-time seat at some point in time with his, if he keeps up this attendance. Obviously there always seems to be spaces for everyone to drive if anyone wants to sign up. And obviously we've already got one person who hasn't notified absence, so yeah, one more unnotified absence from the same person and he'll get a seat. That's how it works over here. You don't tell us you're not arriving, you don't get to keep your seat. But yeah, very, very wet first qualifying session of the season there at Suzuka. Obviously probably not the weather that everyone prepared for. What is Cassell doing? Perfect line into the pits there, guys. That's the way it's done. But yeah, obviously the weather being absolutely atrocious. Almost as bad in Suzuka as it is in Manchester right now. This rain, horrific all day. But yeah, probably would have shaken up a few plans, a few people's practice, because I don't know how many people were planning for the rain in Suzuka, sorry, but it definitely came. Just a few more seconds, then we can move on. I always think it's quite funny how there's such a like certain games just make you wait so long to get going. I think we're gonna have a formation lap as well that we gotta sit through before we get to see what's happening. However, it is dry, and I can tell you for a fact the fastest strategy is the one stop on the medium and hard tires here. It'll be interesting to see how many guys can take their tires all the way, because you get quite a lot of wear here. So yeah, the game will probably advise you on the two stop. However, the one stop is definitely possible if you save your tires a little bit, and we've seen from all of the practice races that we've had before round one that it's a lot quicker to do that. All but two drivers are starting on the medium tyres, however. Chris T is on the softs and Arctic Squirrel on the hards. We'll take that out of the way so everyone can see. Can we get some predictions in the chat? Girls Druid, if you're still here. Obviously, it is dry, so you don't really know like how representative qualifying was, because things could be totally different. I'm gonna go with, well, yeah, ignore those possible race strategies. As I said, one stop is much quicker around this circuit, we saw from practice. I'm gonna go for a podium. Well, Fontanu got a podium in the opening race last season. I'm gonna go for Cassell to keep his victory. You know what? Cassell keeping the victory. I'm gonna go T-Bop in P2, and I'm gonna go Sabi in P3. That's gonna be my predictions there. I'm hoping for a nice, relaxing race. I'm hoping everyone gets to finish. Everyone gets to get the points that they're hoping from this first round of the season, season 18 of Aero League Racing. 10 races this season as well, so this season will take us up to the back end of November, I think. Middle of November, maybe, somewhere around there. Anyway, just waiting on a few more guys to make their way onto the grid. We've got 14 cars, look like they're all ready to go. Yes, they are. Cassell is pointing very far over to the right hand side to try and block off Fontanu, and we've got the red lights. Here we go. 5 red lights, and away we go. It looks like a really good start from the Ferrari of Fontanu, and he's already passed Cassell. By the time we get to turn 1, it's one of the shorter runs down, and Guesty Ben going really wide in the background there. Makes his way down to P14, unfortunately. The Ferrari of Fontanu taking the lead. Cassell P2, Sabi up to P3, Hallinan P4, T-Bop, followed by Titchy Boom in the McLaren. Naked Champ P7, Black Charizard in P8 with Abmo right behind. Christy P10, AJ is up to P11. Mighty Champ's dropped down off the start line, down to P12 unfortunately with Arctic Squirrel, and Guesty Ben down in P14. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's any damage on the grid as Mighty Champ making up a position back already, overtaking AJ14, who looks like he must have gone wide. Dropping well down the field, down to P14 unfortunately there. However, look at this weather. Sunny Suzuka as the sun has all come out, saved it. Saved the sunshine for the race day, haven't we, with the weather that we had. Spin from Hallinan as well in the background. It's a really tricky corner, the spoon corner on this game. There's quite a high curb on the outside as well, so you can sort of get your car beached on that curb and you just can't get turned in. Hallinan drops down to P8. However, Fontanu leading the way with Cassell right in his slipstream. I'm sure these two would have had battles in seasons prior, both veterans of ALR. However, Today it's Fontana sticking out in front. Looks like we've got a move from Black Charizard. Doesn't go for it. Just having a little look down the inside of the Naked Champ, who's getting a bit slidey on the rear there. Should we go on board for this battle between Cassell and Fontana? I'm sure these two will be battling all race long. Really, really consistent drivers. A little bit of dirt being thrown up off the back of Fontana's car. Cassell back in the slipstream. Not quite able to get the move done though, is he? Do you know what? On this game, the crowd just feels so lifeless. I don't know why, I've just noticed that. Just thinking like the track, it just looks like there's just cars and there's nobody here watching them. There is in the background, but it's just still. They're not excited to watch the race. It's round 1 of season 18, guys. Cheer up. Black Charizard is in a slipstream of Naked Champ still. Not going to be close enough. Cassell and Fontana is the closest battle on track, apart from Guesty Ben. Right on the back of AJ. Sabi setting the fastest lap of the race at a 1:32.4. Guesty Ben just again not quite using his ERS right, however he's put it onto overtake mode now and gets up the inside of the McLaren driver. Arctic Scroll is on the hard compound tyre, so he'll be looking to go long and see if he can not lose too many positions. However, Fontana, big slide there. Doesn't really lose too much time to Cassell. Obviously making the corner shorter for himself, and all the like gravel sort of tyre marks on that corner there, where through Degna 1 and Degna 2 I think it is. Might be wrong there, someone correct me if I am wrong so I don't sound like it's too much of an idiot, please. T-Bop looking racy though on the back of Sabi. Maybe not. I think Sabi's used some ERS to get away from him there. Guesty Ben making another move on Mighty Jump down to P40, and unfortunately he's in the wall. Hopefully that was some of his own wrongdoing rather than an incident. Naked Champ has caught onto the back of Titchy Boom here as well. Titchy just losing a little bit of gap to those top 4 cars. I did say those top 4 would be the ones to watch out for the title. I did also say Naked Champ and Halinam I would expect to be in that battle. And Naked Champ is going to have to get the move done quickly on Titchy Boom, which he does down the inside of turn 1, getting the car stopped and making sure not to go out wide onto the slippery substances. And into the S's he goes, and I'm sure he'll start to pull away from Titchy a little bit there. Titchy managed 2 podiums last season. I'm sure he'll be happy if he can do the same again. But it does look like our grid this season is just as competitive as last season, with Sabi being 3 tenths behind these guys now. T-Bop right on the back of them as well. Naked Champ, I'm sure, will be in this battle in no time, just 2.5 seconds back. And it looks like we've got sort of 3 races going on here at once. If you guys look at the mini-map, we've got the top 4 here, all neck and neck. Then we've got P5 down to P10, all neck and neck. Then we've got P11, 12 and 13 neck and neck battling it out. And it's like all the way down the field we got battles, but unfortunately just a little bit too many gaps between them. Obviously that's 6 seconds between Guesty Ben and Chris T, and 2.5 seconds between Naked Champ and T-Bop. It looks like Naked Champ might be in a little bit of his own world in just a few laps time as he's pulling away from Titchy Boom. He is catching up to this top 5, so maybe he can make it a battle, top 4. Maybe he can make it a battle between the 5 of them. We've got a spin. No, we don't. It's just an overtake from Black Charizard up to P6. I think that will be his best result of this game cycle. I don't think Black Charizard managed anything particularly outstanding. last season, so it wouldn't surprise me if P6 it would be his best result. Moving into the Visa RB team, teaming up with Cassell, obviously. Swenderman, P2 last season for the Visa Red Bull Cash App team. And promoted to Tier 1 because of his performances. Black Charizard taking over the mantle of that team with Cassell, who still is just hanging on to the back of Fontanu. 6th, 7th, 10th gap, not really changing from that, is it? This is the corner I'm talking about. Don't go onto the too wide onto the curbs there. T-Bot went a little bit wide, fortunately not wide enough to lose all the time on the high curb. Cassell has used his ERS down here to close the gap on Fontanu. Thought he was going to look for a move, but he's not. He's sticking behind, going to try get a good exit after chicane. A little bit of oversteer, and that's going to be his opportunity for the move gone. That little bit of oversteer, there's no way you're going to get the move done if you get something like that. However, he is trying to use all of his ERS. I think he'd have had more benefit from saving that ERS there, to be honest. In all of that, though, it looks like Arctic Squirrel and AJ have both got past Guesty Ben. And it looks like Sabby is absolutely sniffing the exhaust fumes coming out of that Visa car. Let's go on board here. It's always tricky to follow this closely. Big lock up from Cassell there on the right hand side, and he goes wide onto the AstroTurf, and that's going to be P2 for Sabby. Thank you very much. We've got the 2 Spaniards leading the way of Tier 2. Fontanu. Oh, Chris T DNFs, and that is going to be a virtual safety car. Yeah, we've got the 2 Spaniards leading Tier 2. We've got a Real Madrid fan up in P1, and we got Sabby, I don't know who he sports, in P2. Cassell P3, T-Bot P4. Sorry about that. I am back. Yeah, virtual safety car. Cassell, Hallinan and Guesty Ben pitting. Is Cassell actually going to got a warning from pitting? The one thing I can't stand when drivers do that is get a speed in the pit lane penalty, because it's such a silly mistake and there's absolutely no reason for it. I would have stayed out there personally. I think if you pit, you're forcing yourself into a 2-stop. You're not going to make it hard to the end from there. Whereas if you stay out, you've got the chance at a 1-stop. So I think the 1-stop is definitely the strategy. So I think the 9 guys who stayed out do have a little bit of an advantage now over those 4 who pitted: Cassell, Mighty Champ and Hallinan and Guesty Ben. Not sure what happened to Christy. I wonder if he'll pop it in the chat. No, he hasn't popped it in the chat, unfortunately, so we're not going to find out. Savage just overtaken Fontanu. I think both me and Fontanu have just been caught sleeping there, because I thought Sabby was like a second behind Fontanu, but now he's got past. Fontanu down to P2. T-Bop has dropped massively off these guys. He was right in the battle with Sabby, and now he's 5 seconds off. And down with Naked Champ. Don't really know how that's come about, however. we've now got a battle on our hands for P3. Can't complain about that, can we? Black Charizard also just 2 seconds. I think T-Bot must have had a half spin because it's not like Naked Champ has pulled away from this battle. He's still only a second ahead of people like, or 2 seconds ahead of Black Charizard and Titchy Boom. It's just T-Bop has fell back to these guys. So I think I've missed a spin when I had to mute for just a second. And Fontana's got past Sabby, by the way. How have I missed that? I'm just oblivious. I'm just getting like tunnel vision on this battle here. I was just admiring these cars through the S's. Naked Champ and T-Bop. Obviously Naked Champ getting the move done on T-Bop, and then I've just missed the fact that Fontana's got past Sabby. Yeah, apologies, but that's why I'm not a commentator for actual F1, I guess. Sabby just needs to stay really behind Fontani. Obviously, you can see Font's got a penalty. Guessing that'll be a 3-second penalty. He doesn't need to do anything special. He can just stay there and wait for Font's penalty to be served. And he'll gain a free position from that, won't he? And he's not going to gain a free position by breaking his wing. Breaking himself into the back of Fontani. Fontani into the pits, that's early. That's not the decision, Fontani. You need to be doing the one-stop here. It's quicker if you can eke a one-stop out. He comes into the pits and commits to the two-stop. Which, if you commit to the two-stop, then boxing under the VSC was the best option. T-Bop seems like he's got his act together now a little bit. Back into the DRS of Naked Champ and looking a bit racy again after he dropped the big gap to Sabby up ahead. Fontani has come out comfortably ahead of Cassell as well, by the way. Like, despite the fact that Cassell pitted under the VSC, Fontani has come out 8 seconds ahead of Cassell. Like, it just wasn't the right strategy. I don't know why Cassell came out so far down. Has he just been stuck behind Arctic Squirrel, unable to pass? It's the only thing I can think of, really. But yeah, Naked Champ and T-Bop, sorry, starting to pull away from Titchy Boom again. Fontani's got a lot of space to work with as well. He's got 7.7 seconds to the car ahead. Like, he's going to be able to pound in some lap times and just make his way up the field towards the cars ahead of him. Sabby does come into the pit, so is he going on the hards? No, he's also committing to the two-stop strategy as well. T-Bop and Naked Champ also coming into the pit, so it looks like everyone is going for this two-stop strategy. It would have been a great race for El Truco to be here, because El Truco loves a long one-stop strategy, and it's actually a circuit where we saw from the practice races that the guys who did do the one-stop finished better. So I'm sure if you go watch Tier 1 race right now, I'm sure you'll see a lot of those guys on a one-stop from what we saw in the practice races. However, everyone here on the two-stop, which does even things out a little bit, I guess. Teacher Boom and Abmo might be going for. I thought Teacher Boom started on medium, on hards. It must have been Arctic Squirrel. Sorry, that started on hards. I must have been getting confused between these two, but I'm sure these two will probably try and get to lap 12, and then go on to the hards to the end, and then that's your one-stop strategy really. If you can get to lap 12, that's the ideal lap to pit. Michael Phillips saying Black Charizard is going to crash 100%. Well, he's not crashed so far. He's up in P5, performing well. Just behind Sabby, and actually this is a net P3 from Black Charizard. Titch Boom into the pits. Abmo is going to be in a fantastic position now if he can go from. Oh no, Black Charizard hadn't pitted. Never mind, he's not in net P3. No, he's in like net P10 or so. P11. Yeah, Abmo's going to be in a fantastic position. If he can eat this out until he can go to the hards, like, he's going to be on for a podium. Potentially. Depending on if Naked Champ can get past him. I think he'll be far enough ahead of Arctic Squirrel. Obviously, Cassell's got the 10-second penalty to serve, so I don't think he'll be a threat. Could be a fantastic return for the American driver. Abmo, one of the older guys here in ALR, I'm sure he won't mind me saying that, but he's using that experience and that wisdom potentially to pull out an absolutely incredible strategy and potentially secure some fantastic points for the Haas team alongside his teammate Naked Champ. This could be a P3, P4 finish for the Haas team, which would be absolutely phenomenal for them. This is where I'd expect the pit stop to be for the one-stop strategy. There he goes, into the pits on lap 12, Admiral. Fontanu takes the lead back of the race. That undercut on Sabby was absolutely magnificent. Sabby's gone onto the soft tyres as well, and he's just set the fastest lap of the race by comfortably trying to close the gap on Fontanu after staying out just the one extra lap. Yeah, things have tightened up a little bit on the grid here. Gonna have to go on board with Titchiboom and Hallinan on the back of AJ. AJ pitted under the VSC, I believe, and that's how he's all the way up here, trying to get his first points in ALR. I don't think he has had points before. Obviously, he did have a P4 finish in America, but unfortunately that got taken off him because he disconnected a lap before the required laps that he needed to do. Which, yeah, that was gutting for him. Because he'd done the strategy to get to that place. It's just his AI finished off the race for him from staying out from the position that he'd got himself in. This battle was just absolutely stunning to watch, isn't it? The two McLarens, one McLaren now. I've jinxed it. Arctic Squirrel takes his pit stop, lap 15. That's the lap to do the pit stop if you want to do the one-stop strategy. And Titchy Boom is now unleashed to go after Hallinan all by himself. He's going to have to wait an extra lap. Sabi has brought the gap down slightly to Fontanu, still just hovering above the 3-second mark. Obviously, he needs to get within that 3-second mark to take advantage of Fontanu's penalty and not get himself any more penalties before the end of the race. Abmo, is Abmo on the hard tyre? He is, so Abmo is going to the end. Fantastic to see from the old timer. Titchy Boom's on the hards as well. I don't think he'll make it to the end because he did come in on lap 11 though, didn't he? He might make it to the end. Hallinan is definitely pitting though. Oh, Sappy's got a penalty. I've jinxed him, haven't I? I said it just at the start of this lap. That if he could keep it penalty free, then he might have an opportunity for the race victory. Mighty Jump also getting a penalty. I can't diss. 3-second time penalty is too much because it happens. The problem for me is again things like the speed in the pit lane and stuff, and like speed in the safety car. Like, there's no excuse for those. There's absolutely no need to do it either. You're not gaining anything. Like you don't need to maximise the pit lane that much. You're not in esports. Just take your time, take it easy, and get into the pits, and don't get yourself a penalty. Titchy Boom still remains behind Hallinan. T-Bop is also looking close and looking good for a move on Cassell, just 4 tenths behind these two guys here. The downforce on that Red Bull, chasing the sister team Visa Red Bull. There's a massive bit of debris there. What was that? I don't know. I don't think that was damage. I think that was just an effect of the game because there was no contact. There was too much gap separating them. But yeah, unfortunately, T-Bop getting a little bit slidey through the Degness. And as a result, his move against Cassell is going to be off the cards for at least a little bit longer. Cassell does have to serve that 10-second penalty, which would be putting behind these guys here. Just for context, how damaging getting a 10-second penalty for carelessness is. And he's going to get absolutely no sympathy from me because he shouldn't be doing it. Naked Champ just 2 seconds off the penalty window as well of Sabi, so that'll be one to watch out for the end of the race. 10 seconds to go, 10 laps to go, sorry, not 10 seconds to go. As I believe these guys are going to move on to lap 18, and Cassell is coming in to serve his penalty and to serve his pit stop. Hallinan also comes in. It's just, it doesn't seem... They did pit on lap 9, didn't they, because of the... They came in for the VSC, so I guess that's just what they've left themselves. Titchy Boom and Abmo go into the end. Do you know what? 12 seconds behind Naked Champ. No, 13 seconds behind Naked Champ. So Naked Champ will have to pass these guys to get on the podium. Interesting. That's going to make things very interesting. Naked Champ, I believe, will have a set of softs though, so I'm sure he'll be able to get it done. But depending how much they hold him off, could make a difference. Fontanu, I think, will get out ahead of these guys. I don't think Sabi will. So, yeah, that's another, like, you've got so many things that are going to happen in this race before the end. And I don't know who's going to win. Or who's going to get on the podium. I think the podium is more of a question than who's going to win. I think Fontanu should be able to win from here unless he doesn't, as long as he doesn't make any silly mistakes. Hallinan's gone to the hards for his final stint. Cassell has gone to the mediums for his final stint. So, yeah, unfortunately for AJ and Mighty Champ, I think they're going to miss out the points, which is really disappointing because I thought they've driven really solid races, the two of them. Same with Guesty Ben, but yeah, just a little bit too far off, unfortunately. Mighty Champ, though, did at one point set the purple qualifying lap. At one point, he was provisional pole position. I think that's a massive step in the right direction from him. Didn't manage a point last season, was always sort of kicking up the field. But, yeah, really smooth driving from him here. And he's looks like he's come on leaps and bounds over the break. And I'm hoping he can get his first points at ALR this season. I don't see why he can't if he has more performances like today. A few more DNFs and he'd be there. He's not far off the back of AJ as well, so these two have got a really nice battle between the two of them. And actually, he's on softs compared to AJ's medium, AJ's hard. Sorry, Sabi coming in for the undercut. Where's he going to come out in relation to Admiral? That's what I want to know. I thought Titchy Boom had almost oversteered into the pits then for a second, but he hasn't. And Abmu is going to be gaining. As I said, Sabi does come out behind these two, whereas I think Fontanu... Actually, Fontanu might come out behind Abmu as well. If these guys can set a quick lap this lap, Font will come out behind them. If they set a poor lap, then Font will come out ahead of Abmu. But I think either way, Font's going to have to get past Titchy. Font's not going to have to get past Abmo if he does moves like that. However, that's going to hold up Sabi, who really needs to be getting past Abmo as soon as possible because he's going to be trying to get the undercut on Fontanu, and yeah, Sabi gets that move done there. Titchy Boom's actually gaining on T-Bop, so I think he's going to stay out ahead of... I think Font's going to come out behind Titchy Boom. It's going to be very tight though, but Sabi's gaining a lot on Titchy, but Titchy's not losing anything on Font. It's just the undercut is so strong here at the circuit. Fontanu obviously did the undercut on Sabi last time out, and this time around it's Sabi who undercuts Fontanu. And does he manage to undercut him completely? Let's watch this. Where is Fontanu? Fontanu coming out just ahead of Titchy. This is going to be so key for his race win, and he does manage to stay ahead of the McLaren driver. That's going to be huge, because if he's stuck behind Titchy Boom right now, Sabi is right on his arse for the whole of the rest of the race. But yeah, now he's got just this first sector just to build up a little gap on Sabi, because you see Sabi's tyres are warm. Like, he's ready to go and get this fastest lap of the race this lap, but instead he's stuck behind Titchy on old hard tyres, while Fontanu is building a gap, and he's already built 2 seconds on Titchy Boom. Like, it was just half a lap ago Fontanu and Titchy Boom were side by side into a corner. It shows how much the fine details make such a big difference in Aero League racing, as that's probably the difference between Sabi being on the back and potentially getting past Fontanu and taking the race victory, versus Fontanu ruining all of Sabi's good work on his undercut and building a gap back up to 2.5 seconds now, where it is. So yeah, Titchy Boom and Abmo both going to the end, both going to be trying to get the final podium position. So I think these guys just need to try and stick with Sabi for this DRS zone, drag them along, and they know their battle is Naked Champ. Sabi and Font are going to get more than 3 seconds ahead of them. Or are they? Titchy Boom having a look. Nowhere near close enough though, unfortunately. Where's Naked Champ coming out? He's still coming out the pits, so these guys have got quite a big gap which just shows the power of the one stop, because these two weren't anywhere near the front of the field in the first stint. Titchboom picked up 2 podiums last season from stuff like this, where he's just set an absolute superior strategy to the leaders. And we've got 7 laps left and just over 7-second gap to the Naked Champ. I'm sure Naked Champ will catch these guys, but the question is, does he have any tyres left when he catches? And does he have enough tyres to get past 2 drivers, especially if Abmo is keeping the RS on Titchboom, which it looks like he's doing right now. So these two can really work together. I say that though, Naked Champ is the teammate of Abmo, so they might work together to try and get one car at least past Titchboom into the final podium position. Just goes to show though how costly that mistake of Cassell was, because he was battling Fontanu. He'd be up for this race victory right now, but instead he's down in P10 because he got a 10-second penalty and chose the wrong strategy and pit at the wrong time. T-Bop stays out, by the way, and he's gonna go back and try and battle Fontanu. Is there a chance that T-Bop's gonna go into the end? He's on hard tyres. I haven't noticed that. So T-Bop, my prediction for podium, I said T-Bop, Sabi and Cassell was my podium prediction. Should have gone Font, Sabi and T-Bop. I'm in an line between Font and Cassell. I only wanted to pick one of them. I went with Cassell though, just for, you know, debut. Well, I say debut. It's not his debut, he's been here for absolutely ages, but like his return to ALR F1 leagues, I thought it would have been nice if he could get himself a little podium, but might not happen. I'll tell you what, that is an absolutely stunning move from Sabi. I know he's on fresh tyres, and I know T-Bop's on the hard compound versus those soft tyres, but the absolute balls to get that move done, like through Spoon Curve, and to get it done cleanly from Sabi is absolutely incredible driving. And yeah, he's got 4 laps to chase after Fontani. No. 5 laps to chase after Fontani, and he needs to get the move done on track. I think Naked Champ is gonna get past these two here. He's gaining massively. He was 7 seconds behind when he came out of pits. Already down to less than 4-second gap. The gaps do seem like they've really opened up this last lap though. Not last lap, sorry, last few laps. Like just looking down the field, like AJ 14 seconds, Mighty Champ 19, Gessie Ben 15. I thought these guys were really close behind each other when I last looked. Mighty Champ was like 2 seconds off Admiral of AJ. Sorry, not Admiral. Don't know what I'm talking about there. The yellow flag in Sector 2, I think that was the McLaren of Arctic Squirrel. And Abmo, right at the back of Titchboom, these two putting an absolute show for us, just can't quite get past. That's the problem with these cars, they're so big, they're so clunky, it's so hard to get a move done. I do just feel like they look too big for the track sometimes. Obviously not the case here where it's really wide, as Abmo gets in the slipstream, gets down the inside and gets the move done on the McLaren driver. Titchboom dropping down to P5 for now, but I'm sure he'll be trying to get the move back, and we'll see if he can by sticking on board for this battle as Hallinan makes the move on Black Charizard. That puts the two Visa RB drivers right together. I do like it when drivers from the same team are together. I know it's not good for the constructors battle and all that, when you've got like P1 and P2 from the same team, P3 and P4, etc., all the way down. But I just think it's very visually satisfying. Even where we've got P4 and 6, it just feels nice and realistic, you know, where the drivers from the same teams aren't too far separated. It's not like we've got Kick and Ferrari bookending either side of the standings. We will have a look at Black Charizard. Black Charizard is under hard compound tyres, so he's probably going to be dropping further back now, I would expect. And in fact, Cassell is in his DRS, and if Cassell's got fresher tyres, which we know Cassell's on the mediums and pitted probably about 5 laps ago now, like it would just make sense for Black Charizard to move out of the way and let his teammate through to go fight after Hallinan and see if it's possible. I don't know if it would be, but if it is, then yeah. However, I think we're getting around about the time where we're going to have to go and look at the Naked Champ. We'll stay on this battle just a little bit longer with these 3 guys separated by just a second and a half. But Naked Champ obviously has been gaining quite massively on Titchy Boom. And he's now in the Slipstream and DRS range. So yeah, we're going to go on board with this one. 2 houses obviously want to get together, separated by the McLaren of Titchy Boom. Naked Champ's on the softs, so he's only got a couple more laps to go. T-Pop's actually managing to hold on, by the way, to Sabi's 3-second time window with the penalty, so that would be fantastic for him if he can stay in that window. I don't know if it will be the case, but yeah, if he can, that would be great. And yeah, that's a bit wide from Naked Champ. He's not going to get that move done this lap now. We'll go on board and look with these guys. They're kind of like the nice distance apart where I can watch them one at a time through this area of the track and see if either one is going to be able to make the move. We've got 2 laps remaining now, by the way. We're on lap 26 already. It's one of them which sort of had the lull in the middle, but now we're getting to the end and things are starting to liven up a little bit as all the strategies sort of reach their finish. And Cassell up the inside of Black Charizard backs out, surprisingly though. He'll obviously try to get it done next time round. However, I thought he probably had enough to get it done there. I don't see why. I don't feel like there was a need for him to back out there if he wanted it. Even this gap here as well started to pull out a little bit, hasn't it? We've got a second gap now between each of Abmo, Titchy Boom, and the Naked Champ. But I tell you what, Abmo's catching T-Bop as well. That's T-Bop there, just up for the podium. This is turned into a 4-way fight for the podium on the final lap. I think someone's going to have to make a mistake for something to change as Cassell gets past his teammate this time round. Lap too late for him to be able to have a go at Hallinan as well, but there's a battle for the points as well. We've got AJ on the back of Arctic Squirrel. Come on, AJ. I do love Arctic Squirrel, I'm sorry, but it would be so cool for AJ to get his first. I think this would be his first points in ALR, using all of the ERS to get the move done up to P10. Go on, AJ lad. Great to see. Fontani though, got just a few corners to go. This battle here is still hotly contested, by the way, between the Haas drivers and T-Bop in the Red Bull, who's unfortunately just dropped out of Sabi's penalty zone. So we'll go back on board with Fontani. We've got, I mean, not much at all separating these cars. We've got, what, in effect, 3 seconds back to T-Bop. And it's going to be so tight whether T-Bop does get P3 or P2. But Fontani taking the race victory in round 1 ahead of Sabi in P2. However, T-Bop is going to take P2 just about ahead of Sabi Abmo P4. Titchy Boom P5 and P6 is naked champ. I mean, you've got 5 seconds separating your front 6 drivers. That is incredible. Halanan P7, Cassell P8, Black Charizard P9, AJ coming home for his first points, I believe, in ALR, which is incredible to see for him. Here he is, P10. Oh no, no. Oh no, don't say I've jinxed it. Don't say I've jinxed it. I don't think I have. Fortunately, I haven't. Arctic Girl P11, Mighty Chump down in P12, and Guesty Ben P13, and unfortunately Christie with the DNF. That's pretty crazy. 6 cars separated by like 5 seconds. Mighty Chump P12, I think my driver of the day, obviously if you guys weren't here last season, my driver of the day is one of the most hotly contested awards. It's saying Abmo, and you know what? I'm going to agree. Abmo in P4 from P11 on the grid with a fastest lap 1.5 seconds slower than the quickest. Yeah, it's just great to see from the Haas driver. Titch Boom as well. Loved an Audio Driver of the Day award, didn't he, last season? However, Fontani takes the race win ahead of T-Bop, ahead of Sabi. I mean, I've got 2 out of 3 of the podium predictions right there. I said T-Bop and Sabi. I think I said T-Bop P2, Sabi P3 as well. But I did pick Cell over Font. I'm sorry. So, yeah. But that's where we leave things off. I think the leading team on the standings is gonna be Ferrari, followed by Haas, followed by Red Bull, Sauber, etc. So yeah, that's where it's gonna be. In terms of the strategies, it was quite an even split, really. So yeah, thank you for everyone to watching. We'll be here next week, next Thursday. I'm streaming still, so yeah, thank you. See you then. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new. Boost the algorithm. Bye.